Hello, it's Lip Hate Laugh and Olivia Rose. If we went to Instagram together or something. But hi. I guess I'm going to be knocking out two birds with one stone in this video, doing my makeup routine, talking about drama that people wanted me to talk about, and I also got some haters, but mostly lovers. We love our family. BTS heart. But yeah, let's get right into the I can't do. Okay, so first we're going to do my face moisturizer, primer, all of that good prepping and stuff. And I'm gonna try to not really stop recording. I'm just gonna wait till I edit. So yeah, we're gonna be fast paced. You might get weird moments of me in here, but let's go. So yeah, my beauty blender is already pre-wet. We're going to be talking about that Jimmie Lee drama, and when I popped up on the H3 podcast, because I love H3, I literally watch it religiously, to the point to the point that I've had it used as an insult at me multiple times, but I don't really care. So I was on the podcast, and then I had my, IRLs, and then people who I'm internet friends with being like, oh my god, hello, my love, why are you here? So I wanted to explain that, and I'm working with a mic situation. That's just my gamer headphones, so we're gonna make this work. So I'm going to kind of just get into my routine, and then also simultaneously talk about the drama, because I'm definitely able of doing that because I do it on FaceTime with my friend all the time. I already put on my base moisturizer with my acne medication. Now I'm going to do the base moisturizer is the Nightly Renewal Cream by CeraVe, and then this Peach and Lily. You see it here, but we're going to use this Glass Skin Water Gel. I just recently started using this moisturizer, so we're testing it out, but I had a friend of mine be like, oh my god, you should definitely use this. And honestly, it hasn't served me wrong. I have 60 days to let myself know. LOL. Anyways, we're gonna put this on, but getting into the Jimmie drama. So yeah, I was on the podcast related to the Jimmie topic because, one, I've been watching H3 for so long. Started in elementary school where my brother and his friends were watching Filthy Frank and the iDubbbz and Chef do anything for views. I don't know, he was by Chad, and then Max and all that. And then I was we shared the same devices, so I would get those same recommended videos and watch them too. I liked them, so shout out to him for putting me on. And then I got more into Ethan and Hila's videos because I guess it was early form commentary, easy for me to watch. It was super funny. I don't know, it was my own little world of that. So going forward, I obviously knew who Jimmie Lee was, and then he came onto the pod, I think in 2022 or 2021. They were having him on more. And what was it? So I obviously knew of the, fricked up dentist video, and saw that he had an Instagram and saw them talking about his post, and so I was messaging him being hey, you should delete this, because at the time he was posting those crazy real things that were very interesting. And then I was do you need help? I'm in New York, basically. And he was yes, please, but, and how he types, so it was PL. And anyways, long story short, I met up with him in New York for one of his FOMO trials, or what is it, fanfares as he liked to call it, where like no one really came out. At the time he had Carly, well, Mason and Megan were still in the picture, but he had Carly and his wife like basically flying out to New York on their own dime, because Jimmie's quite the character. But there was time, like, I think Carly was paid and then I was paid when we were posting, like we directly had his login posting for him or whatever, but there was like, I got busy with school, a bunch of other stuff, and like, Jimmie is Jimmie, so there was a break on that, but then he asked me to come out again. So I basically like kind of just reached out, and he's pretty responsive, and he also saw on my like personal page I like had a connection to a PR person, and it was just up there because I used to like do like I basically nothing for them, but like something for them, and I had it up on my page, and he saw that name, and he was like, oh my god, like you know, get me in touch with them. And I was like, no, you're pretty raunchy and like wouldn't sell. I'm not that sure, but okay. I just didn't really want to ruin that like relationship by bringing this unhinged man around, because obviously, and Jimmie is a user, so of course he was trying to like milk anything for that. With peace and love, I had a lot of love for the guy, but like, let's be frank, you know, he's quite the character. I need to get into makeup, right? That's what we're here for. Let's ask the audience. Okay, using the Dermablend primer. I was gonna put on like all the skin renewal cream and stuff, but we don't need to do all that right now. There's like weird fuzzy stuff on my hands. I don't like that. No, because I have to put stuff on my face. Okay. Yeah, that's the Dermablend Jelly Grip Primer. I guess if you want an affordable, because I have like a lot of kind of pricey makeup, but this is Dermablend Professional Instagrip Jelly Primer. If you want an affordable option that doesn't really compare but does the job for like a good maybe 2 hours if you're like standing still and not sweating in an air-conditioned room, I would say it's the e.l.f. Grip Primer, green one. You get the one with niacinamide, but I feel like it separates sometimes your makeup. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I don't want to be crucified or judged for my taste in makeup. I go for obviously full coverage. My skin has really improved since the last video, as you can like see up close, but what is it? I still like my full coverage look. Like, there's, you know, it's just so comforting, and I've been doing it for years, and I feel like there's little hairs on my face from my eyebrows and eyelashes, because I just fix them. I feel like a freak when that happens. Like, literally makes me like my sensory issues. Oh my god. Okay. We fixed it, I think. Whatever, I'm like so up close in your face. Who cares? It's like the point of a makeup video, right? So, moving on to another Dermablend product, Flawless Creator, so you can see that. But yeah, Jimmie was very interesting. So when we went on to the podcast, he like was kind of acting standoffish and very like openly rude to like Alex or like whatever about the film and everyone else. One, Jimmie does not like sharing the spotlight. He thinks everyone's trying to steal his shine. You know, it takes a brave soul with balls of steel to like truly be like, oh my god, Jimmie Lee is, you know, the guy that's gonna do it for me. Like, I'm gonna get somewhere. Like, you know, or like standing next to someone as provocative as him. That's my, like, love just calling him an impatient provocateur. Because it's really what he is if you, like, deduce it down. You know, he loved calling me, oh, this is a great one, his Robin Quivers, in reference to Howard Stern. Robin Quivers. Yeah, very interesting guy. And that's just the start of it. But, I mean, I knew what I was getting into, obviously, because that was his banter, and also I had, like, my own meme page, and I've, like, seen ups and downs of comedy before. Like, I'll give you other story times, but I'm trying to stay focused on one because it's literally so hard for me to tell a story. So, when we get on the call, he's being super standoffish to Alex. Alex was, he's the documentarian that made the film on Jimmie, and honestly, like, he dealt with, like, to deal with Jimmie is you have to deal with him going through his mood swings, and being, like, abrasive at times, and then just, trying to love bomb afterwards, being like, oh, it's you and me going to the top, well, But, yeah, he's very unappreciative and doesn't understand, like, the true, craft of art, of, like, putting something on film, and or, like, that's why his documentary with Mike Bloom fell out, in my opinion. It's because, he, that would have never happened, like, in 4 days. Like, Jimmie's such a liar, like, that cannot occur in 4 days. Like, Alex was willing to put up with Jimmie's, countless phone calls, which I'm gonna honestly add the piano, Jimmie's piano calls to the outro of this probably, because, it's quite the thing. Like, Alex was able to put up with that and build, like, a closer friendship than I had with Jimmie, and I knew him for, like, almost 2 years, like, so, yeah. By the time I was doing, like, unpaid work for Jimmie, and Jimmie did not pay well, don't think, like, oh my god, he's paying people. No, he's paying people shekels and having it sent from his fucking, what is it, dentistry office from, like, Anita, or whatever her name is, like, the finance office there, and, so we'll get into more of that later. But, now we're on the call, he's being standoffish, acting all quiet, and then all of these other people join, including White Claw Gabe. Jimmie does not. I love White Claw Gabe. Jimmie does not like White Claw Gabe. I had a whole lot of words to say about White Claw Gabe, multiple different occasions of just my favorite quote from Jimmie that he said, of course I don't agree with it, but it's Jimmie, so it's like the absurdity of it is what is like, oh wow. This, oh yeah, you see, I met all the fans outside of the live show, at the H3 live show, because they wanted me, what am I gonna do? Sit in there in the green room, staring at White Claw Gabe's stupid face? And then he thinks that they're always putting him on. I don't think White Claw Gabe has a stupid face. We love White Claw Gabe and his face. Well, no, he's not White Claw Gabe. Uncle Gabe. Oh my god. Literally, I know that. I'm just quoting what, you know who said, Jimmie. But, yeah, he was not a fan of Gabe at all. And, also, he, I don't think he likes seeing me or Mason on the screen. It's not like sharing a spotlight. It's convinced everyone's trying to use him for that, but if that was the case, Mason, Megan, Carly, and myself would have just posted, oh, follow me here, and here's my thing, directly on his page. Like, what? I don't get it. And, like, some people really have, like, sinister, like minds to, like, think there's a whole plot on guy like Jimmie. I'm going to continue with my makeup. I just finished using the Fenty Beauty Matchstick, and now I'm going to continue to blend that out. I'm going to then apply my blush, which is going to be Urban Decay. Okay, I'm using shade Espresso. Now, getting back into the Jimmie topic, yeah, he was very standoffish on the call, and what is it? You know, we all worked with Alex on the documentary, or whatever. And he reached out to us individually to schedule like good interview dates with each, like hitting my face while trying to speak, with each of the, people that worked for Jimmie at the time. What is it? And so Jimmie was just being a huge asshat because he was mad that Rob was getting showtime, but it was just more for the LOLs, and Rob is his friend, the mozzarella boss, his friend of like multiple years, who Jimmie for some reason described him as a creeper and also said that he was his uncle's cleanup boy for like prostitutes on some boat or something, which sounds like a very good setup of a relationship dynamic there, a power dynamic there, right? So it seems like, they just had something that was brewing there for a while. Now, move my teddy fresh out of the way. So I'm not trying to get foundation on this sweater. No thank you, ma'am. No thank you, ma'am. No thank you, ma'am. So, yeah. It was super awkward, but it was so funny for me because, like, I know, like, what actually happened behind the scenes, so a lot of it was, like, I literally felt so disconnected from the fact that I was in the call because, one, with all the personalities that were there, I was not going to get, much breathing room for speaking, and, I understand, Mason said he was, like, clapped out of his mind, but Mason's also still like a paid employee, so what is it, he like directly has to work for Jimmie, put up with Jimmie's shit. And also one thing about Jimmie is the checks are not promised, so like the payment for Mason is not consistent. Like, I saw people being like, oh no, if people report Jimmie it threatens Mason, but like it's not like Jimmie is consistent on pay, and he should be, and, he'll call people, all damn day, making it his, like, business, so, yeah, that's definitely something. I'm trying to think back to the call, and also I'm trying to think of what's my next makeup step. I'm gonna move into blush. I'm gonna move into blush, anyways. But yeah, not a consistent guy, and it's not like, worth the actual work that he expects people to put in. And he also overworks people for free, as he like proudly talks about on his podcast. Or not his podcast, he wishes, on the H3 podcast. Now, what is it? For me, it was, like, so funny, because I was, like, not really ready to call in. I was, like, on FaceTime with my bestie, McKenna, and, what is it? I was, like, straightening my hair for fun, because I got a new, like, hair product or whatever, and I wanted to try it out. It was Olaplex hair oil. I wanted to see how it worked as a heat protectant. Anyways, so then the pod starts, and, like, Ethan goes, oh yeah, have Olivia call in, and, as, like, someone who's hyper online, I was like, okay, I can, like, that's fine, but it was so funny, I joined, like, without makeup, like, and all that type of jazz, like, that is not typical for me, not at all, and I was, like, in my, like, pajama school shirt, like, the vibes, but, yeah, Jimmie was not happy to see all those familiar faces on one call. Now, getting towards, like, Jimmie, like, losing his mind, going like, you're a liar, to like Alex and Rob and like all the people. For me, the perspective was, oh yeah, Jimmy's losing his mind. Like, because it was very much people getting to see like the actual behind the scenes of what it's like dealing with Jimmie. And also that whole thing of that girl, not girl, woman, and like lawyer, like BJ. I literally watched her videos before any of that debacle went down. That whole thing of him like threatening her and all that type of crap, I was like, so like, what the heck? Like, why would you do that? Like, that's where I was kind of like at my ick point. But my ick point with Jimmie was, I was dealing with so much behind the scenes with Jimmie because he was calling me, and as I mentioned before, he would call me his Robin Quivers, and he would go through different phases of watching different, like, you know, celebrity or pop culture influences or icons movies, like Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, being like, oh, I need that route, like, that's the route, I want to be like the next Britney Spears. Like, yes, okay, right, you're the next Britney Spears, right. Right. And so he watched the Howard Stern documentary and was like, yeah, I'm Howard Stern and you're Robin Quivers. And like kept being like, you need to watch it, you need to watch it, you need to watch it. Maybe I damn do, but Jimmie, I'm not doing unpaid work, like, to that extent. I think I told him I watched it. If he can lie, I can lie. Why not? So, what is it? Anyways, on the call, there was a lot of, like, pointing fingers of, like, oh, like, you did this, so I did that. But, Jimmie was, like, mad that Alex hollered at him or whatever, which, honestly, someone had to do it. But, to be real, someone had to fucking do it. Like, you might need it or two. Anyways, yeah, if I was Alex and I spent like $8,000 or whatever on a fucking movie, and then this asshat who it's about, who's like been almost infiltrating, like, you know, the process it's supposed to be with all of, you know, his egotistical nonsense, I would lose my shit after sending him the movie and him being like, oh yeah, scrap it. But, he's better than me. Because, what is it? Yeah, that's what Jimmie got upset over. But Jimmie's done a lot within his time span of knowing Alex, but that's for Alex to speak about. But for me, Jimmie's just been, like, blatantly disrespectful, and honestly, like, I'm so sorry, like, is this, like, he's literally a walking, like, lol cow. Like, is that not true? Like, is that not the case? So, like, of course, if it's in my city, I'm gonna go see it. Like, you know, it's like watching the New Year's Eve ball drop. Like, you know, you know, you gotta see it a couple times. So, yeah, I would go see Jimmie a couple of times, and to the point where I was working for him before, but then, obviously, I got tired of it. I'm in school, and, like, a school that makes you, like, work hard, so I couldn't just be, like, all willy-nilly with, like, seeing him, and of course, Jimmie's not actually paying, like, what he should be, or, like, even transportation fees, like, as he should be most of the time. So when he would call me and I wasn't, like, in the city, or I was up at school, or I was with my family and not available, like, all the time, what is it? I'd be like, yeah, I'll see you when I'm in the city. And I would eventually, you know, see him when I was, but it became less and less because he, what is it? Jimmie was just, like, very rude. Like, if you did work for him, like, no matter who was doing the work, it was always up to him. And, you know, you had to, like, basically zone out to be with Jimmie. Also, it was so funny for him to insinuate that he was like, oh yeah, sometimes they come out for the meal. Like, not me, buddy. Like, I don't know for anyone else if they can imagine how it is to eat with someone like Jimmie Lee, but he's definitely a talker over his food, and I have a issue when it comes to, like, food sometimes and, like, sensory stuff. So, like, yeah, there are a lot of times where I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll pack this up, but I knew that was like the payment for the day, and I knew him like the longest, so if I didn't order, then the other girlies were not going to order. And sometimes I would chow down because it's like, oh my god, like, you know. But yeah, no one needed Jimmie for a fucking hot meal. And, you know, I go to these restaurants without him, with like people I actually, you know, enjoy. And it's just something that's not privy to him because he's so in his own world of he's the star and everyone's here for him. So it made so much sense, and it caused me to laugh when he said that. And that's why I flew off the camera laughing when he was like, oh, I'm so intelligent, like, or like whatever. Like, excuse me, girl. Like, you might be one of a kind in the dentistry field, but you are something else. Like, because it was such a narcy statement to make too. Like, and the way he said it, the cadence, like, I'm sorry. Like, I had to laugh. Like, I don't care if anyone thought that was, like, rude. But part of the reason why I'm responding with all this, because Jimmie was in the comments, you know, replying to people, being like, people that I guess, like, the, strays I caught of haters, being like, oh, it's clear that everyone on the call is using you, like, all that shit. Like, there's really, like, what is there to use, bud? How about you go and find out? Like, there's really nothing there. Like, there's no jumpstart to career. I'm expecting, like, what, nothing views on this, because that's, like, that's Jimmie. Like, what? Like, he's like, the followers are fake. There was a while where I think one of the people who he was like paying to do the follower thing for him was like holding his Instagram hostage. Too funny. But yeah, none of it's ever been real, as everyone knows. But he, what is it? Like, would not trust the process that, like, one, Carly had structured out for him. And I guess by the end of the time, Carly stopped working for him. He started getting in contact with this guy. I don't know, what's his name? Roger Neal something. Or maybe I'm getting the names mixed up. But there was some PR guy who, like, scammed him. And he paid this guy, like, out of pocket or, like, whatever, because Jimmie's whole thing is, like, oh, I want to be in the magazines, because he's so, like, old-timey with it. But, yeah, he kind of screwed himself over there, so I don't even know. Because I remember he was like, oh, yeah, you guys are going to see. Very much like, oof. So every time he has paid for something, it's always been for the wrong thing. And, you know, the people that he's using obviously aren't going to put their full effort into a guy who's always trying to, like, you know, undermine them for work. Even as nice as someone can be, or as loving as some moments can be, if it's like a repetitive thing, you know, they'll do maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 things, but, you know, third time, it's like, bro, you're out. So, but I knew how funny it was to constantly see Jimmie, and, like, it also became, like, a meme for my friends and I, to talk about Jimmie. Because it was like, it's like, Olivia, what are you doing with that old man? I'm like, oh my god, this guy was in the H3 podcast, like, they did a video about him on his old channel, blah, 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 blah. So I'd explain that to my friends, and then they would eventually want to know about Jimmie, or, like, whatever, because they also live in New York, so they're like, what is this guy doing? Like, they know exactly what he's doing, and certain people he bothers, they might know, or have seen themselves, so it's, like, extra funny. But to the point of, like, his offensive stuff isn't funny to, like, anyone really. Oh, that was a huge thing for Jimmie. Like, my whole point of being around was to be like, that's really messed up. And he would still do it. Also to the point of, Jimmie likes to use Yiddish. And this is a good part. You might want to be sat for this. So, I don't know if I'm gonna like get the chance to edit this or if someone's even gonna watch over this. But he would use Yiddish all the time. I'm fine with that. I literally grew up on the Lower East Side. Like, you know, I'm very like familiar with like like Yiddish, or like just not like I speak it, but just like I've heard it, and like, you know, I've grown up around like Jewish people my whole life, right? This guy was calling me, can I even say this on YouTube? A Schwarze. Schwarze? Schwarze. Well, I said it 3 times. Basically, apparently that's like the N-word in Yiddish, but when I asked Jimmie about it, and like he's on film saying this, so no one should be shocked either, and I really wasn't shocked when I figured that out, and like someone told me, because the documentarian was like, I know what that means. Like, so, yeah. It was very nice to learn that about Jimmie, and that's kind of where I was like, oof, and like stopped seeing him as much, and Jimmie would call around to the documentarian or ask like the other people that would come out to work for him for free, like people are being like, yeah, Olivia hates me. But he also would talk so much crap about like literally everyone, because nothing is good enough for Jimmie, so I got crap talked about me while also being like praised at the same time. Really interesting guy. Now, I just used the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur fine powder, setting powder, and obviously I am looking pretty ultra blurred, like I'm not even gonna lie there. Shorty is like a melody. Which one should I do next? I'm thinking I'm going to do, let's do contour. We're gonna do contour. And yeah, using Juvia's Place, their contour, really good. Oof, almost used my wrong brush. These are It Cosmetic brushes. I honestly really like them. For powder, I don't really do that whole like where you put your foundation on with a brush. I don't know. I feel like doing fine arts when I was like younger really turned me off from like putting my makeup on with a brush, because of like the whole thing about like brush stroke like imprint. So I feel like a sponge just leaves that like pore effect better, in my opinion. It's my opinion, you know, we all know that. Okay, then I'm gonna do my nose contour. But yeah, so Jimmie and Alex getting into that whole thing about like money or like whatever. Jimmie talking about his like what he makes in a day for his business was so funny, because like Jimmie was definitely upset about that. He does not like talking about stuff like that, and he always loves to say like, oh, my business is struggling, so he like doesn't have to pay people. But what is it? I'm trying to like think of the progression of the call. Oh, at the end he tried to like apologize to me, but I knew it wasn't like a real apology. He was just like, he knew that I'd eventually, you know, have to address this, like this. And I think he was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, like, you know, I might get mad at you for the reels or whatever, something. And, like, I didn't really say that I accept the apology. I just said that they are 2 personalities and he's blatant, and, but, you know, he's blatant when it comes to speaking up for himself, you know, in that sense of what he wants. It's only that blatant when he gets angry. And, yeah. Do I accept the apology? No. The guy's been calling me the N-word to my face for like how many months? Anyways. how many years, like, at this point, because, like, I only found out when, like, because all of the Jewish people I know that use Yiddish, don't fucking speak like that. That's just Jimmie. Like, that's just him. Like, literally just him. Did not even know they had a word for that. Wouldn't even know. Like, that's just fucking him. He's Timothy Jones. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting on to highlight Rihanna Fenty Beauty, and I also put her Fenty Beauty kilowatt underneath to, like, give it that glow when I finally put on setting spray again, because this basically returns the dimensions to my face, and I like to drag it up there. You can, like, repeat the movements that I'm doing as well if you want to. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the drama on this, or the remnants of the drama, because obviously, like, no one gives up. No one gives up. No one gives up. No one gives a fuck. Like, but, like, I might as well do my makeup, because people have been asking me to do my makeup. And, yeah. Jimmie, I mean, you know, can't expect much. I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into and knew how offensive he was, but, to the point of, yeah, Dan was right. He's always been right. Dan is always right. That's something that we should always take note for. But, like, it was fun, too. Of course, I love the story times, and, like, you know, it's down in the books of, you know, knowing Jimmie Lee and, like, seeing him during his craziest eras, and having him sing the piano at me and all this type of stuff, and telling him, no, don't do that, that's super racist. Like, obviously it's so fun to, like, have to, like, tell a 65-year-old guy that, like, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But yeah, I think I'm done with my base face. Maybe I'll give you guys a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Jimmie, just, he's just, one, if anyone looks at this and they're like, oh, they're switching up, or she's switching up on Jimmie, no. After the H3 live call, or whatever, Jimmie had me on his, like, follower thing, or whatever, and I was able to see him replying to comments, like, literally about me, saying that, like, oh yes, I feel used. Like, excuse me, girl. Like, if I was going on H3, I would have been doing my makeup. Like, I would have been, like, if I was using it for, like, me, I would have been doing my makeup the entire time. I would have been there, like, doing my makeup. Oh, we're using a ColourPop, what is it? Nude palette, or, yeah, Nude Mood palette. Just because we're doing that to get the shape definition of our eye back into place with, the, like, you know, obviously to balance out the foundation that wound up going on my eye, because I was using a beauty blender. I'm gonna put on my eyebrows in a second. I know they look crazy, and we'll finish up my eyes then. But, so yeah, like, what the fuck was I just talking about? Oh god, what was I just talking about? Oh, yeah, so Jimmie wanted to get in touch with Alex and wasn't hearing from Alex and all of these types of things. So he was going through whoever he could to try to reach Alex, but he also used that as time to call me, I think, like, maybe a week after the pod. I don't know if it's really necessary, you know, obviously. I always have. If it's really necessary, I come with that, but, you know, it won't be necessary. Like, it's so, like, irrelevant. Like, Jimmie, honestly, is, you know, he's, no, like, not saying anything about crazy. He's nuts. Like, he's genuinely unwell. Like, he, has a lot of the symptoms of an unwell person. When Ethan was saying that, I was like, yeah, you're so right. Like, that's exactly what all of my friends been saying. There's someone else we know who's like just as unwell as Jimmie, and Jimmie actually wound up like not liking that person because, as my friend said, it was like he was looking in a mirror because that person wanted attention just as much, and all that type of stuff, and you know. So, he's very aware of how unwell he is and likes to excuse it with the I got problems, but it's more than problems because it's like almost defenses. And yeah, it was always very uncomfortable to go out with Jimmie and have him like harassing, like, not just. I've discovered something with Jimmie. He didn't just harass Asian women, like, he harassed all different types of women. If there was, he would harass any type of woman if they were standing in front of him. And his thing, it's almost so offensive, like how many jokes he'll make about the Asian community, and for him to sit on the podcast and be like, oh, I'll kill anyone that talks crazy about my family or talks crazy about Asian people when he's not in character. I've seen him not in character and like heard him not in character, and he will still talk crazy about Asian people. One time, because at my school there's like there's not a lot of diversity, but there's like diversity with like people from around the world. Jimmie's pretty xenophobic, so anyways, of course we know this. But anyways, like something came up, a conversation about like Asian men or like whatever, and then something about like their attractiveness or something along the sorts. And he was like, oh, Asian men are attractive. Like it's almost like, so it's like, what? Do you think that like you're some like special, unique guy who, oh, this is another problem you have? Like no. One, they are attractive and everyone's fucking attractive no matter their race and like all that type of shit. But like two, to say that when like, your whole shtick is like, oh, Asian women are so attractive, yet you think that about like Asian men is crazy. Like, yeah. I mean, it's all fun and games. Jimmie likes to be like, oh, this is jokes, but no, he's like dead ass. Like that guy feels that way. Like, he votes that way, he feels that way, he is that way. And, like, you cannot help him. I don't think there's any changing him. Maybe seeing this might help him, but who the fuck knows? Because, he was way too much. So he calls me to apologize, but the whole time he's really just wanting to speak to Alex, because also another thing about Jimmie is, like, my work was never that good. It was never as good as a man's, and would always want, like, a man to do it instead. But it was like, oh, he was like, trying to think. He was like, oh yeah, can you get Alex to speak to me? Or like, whatever, and I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, I don't know, like, he's busy, I don't know, like, he'll get back to you when he can, like, I'm not his, like, keeper, so, what is it? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Olive, like, I'm sorry, I realize, like, yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, you're honestly, like, really messed up. I've been seeing you respond to, like, people leaving hate about me and or other people, and, like, being like, yes, correct, like, when it's not true, and you know that, like, and he's like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, like, but he is only saying sorry because he wants me to try to get in touch with Alex for him. So, yeah, it was my last call with him, and then all of a sudden, I was like, yeah, you can, like, refollow me and all that type of stuff again if you want, but, like, I might have to make a response videos, because my friends are asking, like, what is this, and, like, I would want a response video, too, if I saw them doing some shit on H3 podcast, and, like, what, or, like, even some shit with Jimmie, like, it's, like, very random. So, yeah. Then he wound up, like, blocking me all this stuff again, so who the fuck knows. But yeah, he gave his live little temper tantrum, and you see it. And I'm glad it's someone else's problem, and not mine, because one, Jimmie loves to call people at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's like no one's trying to be woken up at 7 a.m., especially by him. Like, emphasis on especially by him, like no one. Like, no one. No one trying to be woken up by him. Like, I feel like it's the worst part. Like, that's the start to a terrible day. There were so many days where he, like, tried to wake me up. And also, like, Jimmie had all these other people, like Declan Cross. Shout out to Declan Cross. And also, everyone make sure, if you're watching this all the way through, go, like, look at Carly Mack. She has, like, a graphic design page, and she does great work. And, like, Jimmie did not deserve to have someone so talented, like all these people who are so talented, like Alex and Carly and Mason, all of them, like, and Peebler and Akira, like, all of them around. But, you know, it happens, you know, for the love of the show or for the love of the game, or I feel like some of them might think that, like, there's a payoff from it, but TBH, I knew that my driver was never Jimmie. Like, Jimmie was honestly, like, fun for me to go see. Like, my friends would be, like, hanging out with their boyfriends, significant others, or, like, whatever. I'd be like, okay, well, you go do that. I'm gonna go see Jimmie Lee. Like, at the time, I wasn't dating anyone, so it was just fun to go see Jimmie and, like, have someone who knew about, like, the podcast or the stuff I was watching. Like, my friends found it hilarious. It was just a whole LOL thing, like, and, but yeah, it wasn't something I was, like, necessarily, like, openly posting about or, like, openly using on social media, which is why it came as shocking to, like, some of my, like, internet friends or, like, friends that, like, don't really hear from me all the time, or, like, we don't get to catch up as much. It's because, I was, like, what was it? Like, obviously, Jimmie's not a name that you want to attach to yourself, like the stuff he says, like, I'm so sorry, like, his views are, like, not the same as mine, and, like, you know, I make jokes too, but not like that. Like, those are just not jokes. Like, those aren't even good. And I would tell him that. I would be like, that's not even funny. Like, there's no, like, where's the punchline? Where's the joke? But, you know, to each their own. Now, yeah, I really hope that Mason gets compensated better, and, like, there's something that can be done about that or whatever. And, you know, of course, I definitely deserved and still deserve compensation, but there's more names and people that I'll start using throughout the years. And, you know, it's only so much that is, like, you know, walking the line of offensive, creepy, and, you know, until it goes too far. Anyways, so, yeah, dealing with Jimmie like that, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, dealing with him out on the street was even more insane because, like, he had this issue where he would constantly, like, go up to children, like, little girls, and little people, and little boys, and, like, all that type of stuff, like, trying to do bits with them, and, like, and the thing is, like, he would see, like, families, because Little Italy has a lot of, like, tourists, or, like, whatever, he would see, like, families on vacation, like, go up to them, but our whole thing was, like, Jimmie, no kids. Like, it became, like, too much, or, like, whatever, but, like, he was just a huge creeper, and, like, with all that stuff, as he would use the word creeper, he was the ultimate creeper. There were even moments where he was a creeper with me, and, like, I'm not a, like, he's just, like, I understand, like, loved the guy, and of course, maybe at moments he snapped out of his nursey ways and had, like, love for me in a certain way, but, you know, he's the most self-serving, like, he has to be to get to where he wants to be, you know? And that's just me quoting what he would probably say. And, oh, using the e.l.f. I think the e.l.f. Jet Black eyeliner is great. Like, I'm so sorry if someone disagrees. Like, I get it. I get it. I completely get it. Oof, girl. Girl. Thank God. That's why I like the e.l.f. liner. Even if I mess up, I can go back and be like, oh, and oop. Yeah. I don't really do that thing where I put it on the inner part. I'm so sorry. Some people do. Oh my god, this is so messy, so sloppy. So not slay. So not slay. What does my other side look like? Oh, I can thicken that up a bit. Oop. Not that much, girl. No, that's not too much. Not too much. Okay, I actually fixed it up by doing that. That's a little funny. Okay. My eyes look so much bigger, but it's about to get worse. Because I'm going to go in with the NYX Jumbo ice cream. The vanilla ice cream. It's the shade. And I'm like going all up in there. All up in there. Like gives me like a teardrop effect when I do it like that too. So that's why I do it like that. And then I'm gonna rub it off because it like gets the black from my liner on already. And I'm taking all this makeup right off. Like I wanted to give you guys, I like had no time ever since that Jimmie call because like I rarely get time. I just like I've been working my lovely part-time, doing the little makeup stuff, and then, you know, seeing loved ones when I can. But yeah, it's my eye makeup. I use the Juvia's Place palette. I also use ColourPop palette. Juvia's Place Culture too, by the way. And yeah, I went through the rundown of some of the Jimmie drama, basically. But I think so. I feel like I covered the majority of it. However, I cannot tell a story in order, but I can tell you the truth. Thank you guys for watching. I honestly, well, we're not done. We're not really done. Let's lock this in. You can use either the Smashbox Photo Endurance or Photo Finish Endurance, whatever. This one, the Endurance one. However, there's also the Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray, and there's also the Urban Decay brightening, or vitamin C brightening powder. That's really good. Brightening, whatever. The yellow one, whatever. And then, there's also a lot of people like the Peach and Lily one. I mean, for me, not really my thing. And I know Dermablend makes their own spray, but I haven't tried it. I would be down to try it, but I haven't bought it. Yeah, it just kind of returns the face to life. And so, I feel like I gave the rundown on the majority of my time that I had with Jimmie. However, yeah, it's just hard to, like, honestly, like, you know, run D for someone who's, what is it? Like, you've been nothing but nice to, and, like, honestly, yes, he's a lol cow, but, like, I've been nothing but nice to him, and, like, he was way too much and was way too rude to me and on way too many occasions and like for no reason. And luckily I'm from New York, unlike the other people that were like coming around for him. So like for me, if he was too much, I'd be like, okay, Jimmie, I'm leaving. But of course, that's when he's like, no, please stay, I'll stop, no, stay. So I also just remembered that I didn't do my mascara yet, but I feel like that's a whole other level of makeup right now that I'm not trying to take off because I'm literally about to wash all this off. So I use the Benefest. Or no, FanFest from Benefit. Duh. And then I guess I'll put a little something on my lips to close it out. This is also from Benefit. This is like the closest dupe for the Dior Hydro Glow that you're gonna get, but the Hydro Glow is just so amazing. Like, I love that from Dior, but it's so expensive. But thanks again, and I'm gonna close up this video. So pretty. Yeah. Yeah. It's in heaven.
I'll trade you something to live.
Trade me.
I'll trade you laughter for love.